Hello there and welcome to my channel. Today we're in the garage. Sorry about the mess, but we're gonna rebuild this drying cabinet today. And as some of you already guessed, it's gonna become a fermentation station. I found this drying cabinet on a Facebook marketplace for free, so all I had to do was go and get it. It was originally made to dry clothes. That's not what I'm gonna do with it, at least not primarily. Primarily we're gonna use this drying cabinet for the heat that it can produce. And we're gonna put this big plastic tote at the bottom here. And inside this tote, we're gonna create the perfect climate for fermenting tobacco. Cabinet is gonna give us heat and the moisture will stay inside of this tote. But before we can ferment any tobacco in this cabinet, we have to modify it a bit. First, there is a built-in timer here, which you can set from 1 to 6. I think that's 10 minutes for each step. That's too little for me. I'm thinking about running it for 12 hours a day. So we have to bypass this one. This is a thermostat, which is really good for us because we want to be able to adjust the heat that's inside here. And I also want to cut out a window in the door here so I can see the tobacco from outside without having to open the door and let out the heat. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that I haven't tested this drying cabinet yet, so let's test it before we do anything else. It's working. Perfect. Perfect. Let's see what max heat is like. Oh yeah. Let's see what minimum heat is. Perfect. Perfect. It's working. Now, before we can start working with it, I think we should lay it down on the ground so it's much easier to work with. So let's do that. Whew, there we go. The first thing I want to do is bypass this timer. So let's see if we can do that. I don't even know how to get into this. Okay. So this is the heater. This is like everything to the drying cabinet. The rest is just a metal case. So all we need is here, I think. Where's the cable going to? That's weird. As you can see down here, we have like a connector where the cable runs to, and 2 holes here. Let me focus there. 2 holes and 1 pin in the middle, and these 2 pins are going into those holes and 1 in the middle. So that's where the power is coming from. This is what it looks like inside. We have 2 power cables coming down here, or coming in here. They're going down into the timer thing. And then we have a gray wire that's only for the lamp here to show that it's on. And then we have this blue wire, which I think is for the temperature control, since I don't see anything other in this box that's used for anything. So basically we have power going in to this box here, and then we have 2 cables going out to this place here. That's the black wire and that's the white wire. I'm probably heating this wire here, and this is just a fan that's turning to blow the air. it's dirty, so we might as well clean it while we have it down. This is a fire hazard. And speaking about fire hazards, if you don't know what you're doing when it comes to electricity, don't do it. Let's just brush it off. Much better. So let's see if there is a way to bypass it without damaging it. Let's start with removing this on the sides here. And the other side. Let's see if we can get in here. This looks like it's on a... It looks like you should be able to slide this out. Maybe if you remove this first. Maybe we could just take it out like this. Yeah, let's do that. Why is it so hard? There we go. Now what do we have here? Some kind of switch maybe? They were removable. Just had to use more power. Now let's get some screwdrivers. Now let's see what we've got here. Holy moly. Now we can get a better look at this. Now we can clearly see here that the blue cables are going to the motor that spins the fan that's in there. It looks like the white cable is going to this one, which is the temperature setting thing. So it looks like we can bypass this one. Now let's try to open the timer to see if we can figure out how it works. There we go. Okay. So what we have here is, this one is rotating and closing circuits. This one is actually pressing up here. So that's what's doing it. When this one is turned, this one is pushed up and connecting to that plate over there, which lets the current go over here. So technically we could just make that be on that side all the time and that one on the downside all the time. Yep, that's how it's working. I put on the wheel here again, and you can see when I turn the wheel it's making those copper plates touch up there. So if we could just find a way to make them stay there all the time, we should be able to run this on a timer instead of this timer. We could, if we wanted to, just connect the wires, that white wire to those three there and that black wire to those three there, without using this in the first way. But I want to be able to restore this drying cabinet if I want to, so I don't want to damage it. Let's try to modify it instead. Let's see, let's put the wheel back on and turn it. Now we want it to stay like this. And there is something, when we turn this knob, we turn this metal cylinder here, and there is something in this box that's turning it back. So Let's see if we can find what it is and prevent it from turning it back. Oh, it's a mini clock. Look at this. Could have figured that out with all the ticking that it's making. That's so cool. With the spring and everything. Wow. Now that the mini clock is gone, this should stay like this forever until we decide to remove it. Now we have a closed current here. Then we just put the lid back on here. You don't even have to use that. Just put this one on again. Now that should be enough, right? Let's test it. Let's just put it back like this. Goes in the same way as it went out. Okay, we should have power. Let's try to connect it. So technically it should work now with me just plugging in the plug. Let's see. It works. Perfect. And we don't have any timer counting down now. No ticking noise. Perfect. Now let's just assemble it. And there we have it. Nope. We still have these plastic things on the sides here. Now let's put this thing back. Maybe we should clean out some dirt before. There we go. Back like that, and I think that's it. There we have it. Let's just raise this up, or just, it's not as easy as it sounds, but let's raise it up. Technically it should be working now when I plug this in, and it should be on until I cut the power. Let's see if we can control the temperature as well. It's cold air coming now. Max heat. And it's getting hotter. So everything is working except the clock that we removed. Perfect. Let's cut the power again. Perfect. Now that's the hard part done. Now for the easy part, making a window to look through. Let's get to it. And to make that window, we have to lay down the cabinet again. I have bought this acrylic plastic, which is a clear plastic. Now it looks pink, but it's because of the protective layer. It's gonna be clear. So I'm thinking a window about this size somewhere. We have to measure, of course. And to measure where I should put the window, I'm gonna use this as a guide. Now I want to be able to see the tobacco that's in this tote when the door is closed. So maybe if the window is kind of somewhere here. The tote is 48 centimeters, so it will go up to around here. Let's maybe place the window here. That's a good spot. Don't you think? 48 centimeters. Do we really want to see the bottom of the tote? It's gonna be filled anyway with tobacco. Maybe a bit more down. Maybe like that. We don't have to see the top of the tote. Let's just mark those out. That looks better, right? Now, let's punch a hole. Or saw a hole. I'm starting by making a hole so I can fit the saw blade. Do you remember what I said earlier about being able to restore this to its original? Well, that's not possible anymore, but let's clean this up and let me show you what I'm planning. What I'm gonna do now is put double-sided tape here on the sides and then just tape the plastic window to the front here. And let's try to put it somewhere in the middle. And there we have the window. There is one more layer of protective tape on this side, so it will look better when that one is off as well, but this is a first look. Let's raise it up again and see what it looks like. It's actually looking pretty cool. That double-sided tape acts as a frame, so it looks pretty cool. Let's put a tote in it to see what it looks like with that. And that's what it looked like with a tote inside. I don't know if you can see it. It's barely visible, but here's the tote. The height was perfect, I think. You can't see the lid of the tote if you don't bend over, but you want to see the bottom or the middle of the tote. I also added a lamp that I can turn on and off from the outside. This hole I have to do something about, maybe a thin piece of plywood or something just to cover it. Now all that's left is waiting for the tobacco to cure enough so I can start fermenting it. This build was very fun to do. I learned a lot as I go. It turned out pretty good to me. I think this is going to be good enough. It's actually pretty good that this is done so much earlier than when I can start using it, because I have to dial it in to see what temperature I'm supposed to have it at. And try it before putting tobacco in it. A few days after recording the other clips, I saw that this acrylic plastic came loose from the double-sided tape. So let's redo it and do it properly this time. I'm gonna start by masking off the outside of the acrylic plastic. And now that that's masked off, let's remove it. It's amazing that the double-sided tape sticks so good to the cabinet, but not to the acrylic plastic. There we go. Now I'm just going to use some 120 grit sandpaper to rough the surface up. I will also use the sandpaper here on the edges of the acrylic plastic here to get a better adhesive finish. There we go. Then I have this acrylic thing that you use for windows. Let's try this, see how it works. And then let's put on the acrylic plastic again. Something like that. Press it down to make it seal all the way around. Then we just remove the masking tape. It doesn't look as good as with the double-sided tape, but this piece is not going into a museum, which is good. This is from the inside, and what I'm doing now is just going over the edges with a carpet knife, so that when it's cured, maybe I can remove the excess. I don't want to remove it now since it's so sticky, so it will probably just make it look even worse. So I wait for it to cure, then maybe I can peel it off. And I also noticed that this knob here is for temperature control. This is not a thermostat as I thought originally. This is just to control how hot the air is that's coming out of the fans. Which is why I bought this. A thermostat which controls the socket here. This will make the drying cabinet start when the temperature gets too low, and it will turn off the drying cabinet when the temperature gets too high, so I can keep it in a range where I want the temperature to be. It has now been 5 hours since I applied this, so let's see if we can scrape it off, or at least make it look a bit nicer. It actually didn't turn out that bad. Looking pretty good. Now let's connect the thermostat and see how that works. On this piece here we have one plug for cooling and one for heating, and obviously we want to heat. So let's plug in the cord from the dryer in this one. So this is the main unit. And this is the thermostat, which will measure the temperature. So let's just put it inside for now. There will be plenty of cable to put it in the tote later. And let's connect the thermostat to power. So how this works is, this is the current temperature in the cabinet, and this is the set temperature, or the desired temperature. And this is going to be on and heating until it's reached 48 degrees. And then I've put 8 degrees down, so it can go down 8 degrees before it starts again. So let's see if that's working. I've put the heater to max over here, and now this thermostat is going to control whether it's on or off. So now we have it at 36.6 degrees inside and climbing. So we're going to see if it turns off at 48 degrees and then turns on when the temperature drops to 40 again. So let's just wait. It should turn off at any second now. It's almost 48 degrees. There, it turned off. Perfect. Now the temperature will still rise for a while. But let's just open the cabinet to let out the heat faster. And let's see if it starts again when the temperature drops to 40. And if I'm right, or if I've programmed the cabinet right, this is gonna start at 40 degrees again to heat up to 48. And it does. Oh my God, great success. Now when it comes to this box, the fermentation box, I've bought this sealing strip to put around the corner here, or the edge here. And that is just to keep the moisture inside, to make it even more airtight. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but this plastic tub is made out of food grade plastic, so I don't have to worry about the microplastics. There we go. Let's put on the lid and pray to God that we still can close it. Amazing. Now later I'm gonna make a hole somewhere here in the lid to be able to fit the sensor down there into the tobacco, and maybe put some hot glue or something to cover that hole. I also have this temperature and humidity sensor that I will be putting inside of the tub, so I can see this from the outside. So I have this double-sided tape that was so good from the previous project, or the project with the window. I'm gonna try that tape with this as well. Something like that. Open the tub or tote or whatever you want to call it, and put it here like that. On with the lid again, and let's put it in and see what it looks like. This is what it looks like from the outside. Now I haven't peeled the second protective layer from here, so let's do that. That's better. Now you can see the temperature and the humidity in the box from the outside. Now this turned out to be a very long video. I hope you enjoyed it all, but it's rebuilt, waiting for the tobacco to cure, and then we're gonna throw it in here, or some of it. The tobacco that's gonna turn into cigars is gonna be put here for a month or two. I don't know how long it will take, but I'm thinking about running this cabinet for 12 hours a day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.